I'm Adrian Ghobrial in our nation's capital, where a vote of confidence on the Trudeau government's unprecedented use of the Emergencies Act on protesters across the country has passed tonight inside the West Block. Meanwhile, here in the downtown core, area residents and businesses remain optimistic, but are still on edge. 48 hours after this surreal scene unraveled on the doorstep of Canadian democracy, the Prime Minister defending his move to pull this historical legislative lever.
We didn't want to use the Emergencies Act. It's never something to turn to without serious consideration.
For the first time since its passage in 1988, the federal Liberals invoked the Emergency Act to clamp down on anti-COVID-19 mandate protests that have disrupted billions of dollars in international trade and led to what many are calling the illegal occupation of downtown Ottawa.
In a democracy, you can protest, you can share your opinion at the top of your lungs, but you can't hold a city hostage. You can't block a critical trade corridor and deprive people of their jobs. You can't attack journalists for reporting, which is essential to our democracy.
The Emergency Act will remain in place for the next 30 days unless the government revokes it sooner. The vote was viewed as a confidence vote. If it failed to pass, it could have triggered a federal election. It passed with the support of the NDP, while the Conservatives and Bloc questioned the need for it to remain.
Many experts, including people like Chris Lewis, former commissioner of the OPP, are saying the government had all the tools they needed and the Emergencies Act was an overreach.
We're making this decision based on the seriousness of the threat to Canadians and to our liberty, to our democracy, and we take that as something that requires, again, our reluctant, but our support.
Just a few blocks from Parliament Hill, some area businesses just want the government to do what's needed so they can reopen after the at times volatile protests forced them to close their doors.
It was one of the worst 3 weeks in my 17 years of restaurant business in Ottawa, because it's a lot of uncertainty, open, close, what to expect, what not to expect, things like that. It was horrible.
Dali Indian restaurant owner and chef Joe Tuttengal knows about difficult days in the food industry.
Joe, you had one of your 2 restaurants burned down during the pandemic, and then to have to go through this for the last 23 days, 3 weeks. What goes through your mind?
All these hard things happens, makes a person as stronger.
Police checkpoints at Ottawa's famous Byward Market were removed today, and Rideau Street is now open at Sussex, with the Rideau Centre set to open tomorrow. For Tuttengal, he's hopeful for a return to some sense of normal so people can reclaim their lives and livelihoods.
I hope it will all, in a week or 2, will be all cleaned up, and it will continue as it was before.
For now, the checkpoints and many of the fences around Parliament Hill remain in place. The police operation also still underway, with officers from divisions across the province still here in Ottawa, where 200 arrests have so far been made. I'm Adrian Ghobrial for CityNews.